Hey guys, what's up? This is Casey.
This is Coach Tom.
This is Shot Science Overtime number 181. You're supposed to be excited and surprised like you are every time. Awesome Pants says hi. Luis Rodriguez says hi. Mr. Sampa says hi. What's up, you guys?
All right.
This is our live show. This is not like a tutorial. So if you guys want that short form tutorial, go get those in our library for our videos. If you want to stick with us for this live show and talk with us for about an hour, answer your questions, we are here for you for that. So just so you know what you're getting into. Otherwise, you can get out right now. That's totally cool. But thank you guys for being here. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media stuff for Shot Science. We are just Shot Science on everything, whether it's Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, wherever. Shot Science, and we do different things in those different places. If you guys want to go to our webpage, shotscience.com, you can get all of our training gear, jump box, t-shirts, other training gear, the all access membership. Go to shotscience.com and check that out. If you guys wear like any of our shirts or use any of our training gear and you post it on your social media with the hashtag Team Shot Science, we like to feature people that do that. So make sure you get in on that if you get something from the store.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool?
Yeah.
And we have a lot of people that follow us on like Facebook. There's 1.7 million people on there. So if you want to get featured in front of a lot of people, that's a good spot to start.
Yep.
So awesome to have you guys here. What we do is we have a topic at the top of the show that we like to talk about, something that we think is going to help you guys become a better basketball player, and maybe cut out some of that learning curve that is really difficult to get through when you're kind of a young player or a beginner player. Yeah. And while we're doing that, you guys are going to send us your questions on anything basketball. It can be shooting, passing, dribbling, defense, how to talk to your coach, athletic training, athleticism in general, whatever it is, send it our way, and we will do our best to answer those questions once we get into that. Let's see. What else have we got going on? So yeah, let's get into our topic. So our topic is patience or controlling patience to score. Yep. And what does that mean?
Well, it means a lot of things, but one of the things that we kind of are concerned about is that when you're getting to the rim to score, you may be contested by bigger players or other players. And one of the things that happens there is that you can get yourself into some pickles if maybe you go in and you try to go up against a bigger guy and he smashes it, knocks it out in the 13th row or something like that.
It's usually when you're trying to rush it and you don't really have control of the situation.
Exactly, where you're really trying to get there and yet it's not possible for you to make it all the way. One of the things that we teach all of our players and students is that when we are finishing at the rim and you get there and there's traffic in front of you, you're not going to be able to get all the way to the basket. We actually teach everybody that we're going to jump stop right there and come under control. And that's an important element that we think is important for you, because what happens is that when you make that jump stop and you've got the ball tucked up under your chin, in which we call a position of power, we've got it under the chin, and now everything stops in the basketball game when you make that stop.
Well, I was going to say this too, is that lots of times young players rush things because they think that if they rush it, they're going to somehow get the advantage over their defender, which really isn't the case. So they think that they're just going to go as fast as they can, get the ball up there, and then the defense won't have a chance to catch up with them.
Right.
That's usually not the best approach.
Or they put up a hope shot, and a hope shot, for those of you who don't know, is you hope it's going to go in, and almost never does when we have to change how we're going to deliver the ball to the basket. Okay, but let's get back to the other point there, and that is this, is that when we make a jump stop in and around the basket, and I've seen this lately from Kawhi Leonard. He gets around the basket, and there's all these bigs around him, and he makes that little jump stop and pauses for just a moment. And when he pauses, the defensive team really kind of just stops because they don't know what he's going to do with it.
Yeah, and the thing is that you have the basketball. Kawhi Leonard has the basketball.
Yep.
So you are going to be the one that's kind of creating the pace and the tempo of the game.
Right.
So you have control right there in that moment anyway.
Exactly. And then what you'll see him do sometimes is just rise quickly and just a little flick shot and in the basket. Or what happens is that you'll see him then turn and he'll kick the ball out to somebody in the corner. Or you could even make a complete 180-degree turn and pitch the ball out to somebody else on the perimeter of the defense. Now, the reason that are the perimeter offense, and what happens is that whenever a player drives to the basket, then the defense tends to move in that direction towards the paint so that they can make it more difficult for you to finish. And so that leaves shooters open. But just the fact that you make that little jump stop, at that little pause, okay, everybody's wondering, what's he going to do? And so he's got all kinds of options. He can give to somebody else who's nearby. He can go ahead and finish himself. But just that little stop and hesitation there is really important. College team that has been really successful with it, there are probably more than just one, certainly. But, national champions last year, Villanova, they really teach their guys to do a lot of the little jump stops and then move into other shots where they get open. One of the things they use is kind of a little reverse turn and a fade in there around the basket, which is really effective. We have some things that we like too, and we're not going to go through all of them, but
let me say this.
Go ahead.
It comes down to a philosophy we talk about all the time with you guys, and that is that you always want to be the one in control, dictating the tempo, making sure that whoever is guarding you or you're playing defense on is a step behind you. So it doesn't matter if you're on offense or defense, you are the one that is in control. So if you're on offense, you're the one that they're trying to play catch up to. If you're on defense, you're shutting them down, cutting off options, and you're the one in control. So same thing plays true here. And if you're trying to get the score and you're in the lane and you're trying to rush the shot, you haven't taken full advantage of being in control of that situation. So what something like a jump stop or a shot fake or even a hesitation.
A hesitation and a change of direction, those kinds of things are really effective around the basket.
And the reason that they are is because you are making an action and then the defense has to react to you.
Right.
You don't want to have to react to the defense because then you're doing essentially what they're trying to get you to do. You want them to do what you want them to do. So doing something like a jump stop, yes, everything slows down and they do have to react to you, but that gives you another opportunity to do something else, whether it's a shot fake and you get them up in the air and you can make a move there, either a shot or attack or whatever, or you can do the hesitation where you just stop for a second and you go right back up. There's so many things you can do, but just taking that beat where you just stop for a second, they have to catch up to you and then you make a move just as they're getting to the point where they're settling and then they're off balance again. When you are trying to do things all at one speed, at one pace, then they never have to really try very hard to recover because they're basically just right there with you the whole time.
Right.
If you have to make them play catch up at all those different moves, then it's going to be that much harder for them to do.
Right.
And when young players are playing, it's almost all the time. They are so rushed to get things done.
Yeah.
You will almost never see a player jump stop. You can do this on a fast break. I mean, it's one of those things where you can do it anytime, but a fast break where you think, I just got to go in there and I got to do a layup no matter what. You can do a fast break. You can be sprinting down the court. You can have three guys around you. If you jump stop at the last second, a lot of times those guys just go sailing past you and you get a wide open, just a little putback. Right. Or you get there, jump stop, shot fake, and they go up and you get a little easy basket like that.
Get into them and maybe draw a foul and an and one. Okay, one of the thoughts that kind of came to my mind there is Rajon Rondo has a very nice reverse move that he uses when he gets in around the basket, and that's the same kind of thing. He'll make that jump stop and he'll turn away and it come right back to the other side. We actually teach that. We call that the Rondo, where you're utilizing those kinds of things out of a jump stop to create an opening for you to score at the basket. You're not being rushed. You're taking care of the basketball. And the thing that is so important is not somebody's, but we have quite a few people who will send us a note and say something like this: how come I keep getting the ball knocked out of my hands when I drive to the basket? Well, number one, you're not protecting the basketball, probably. And number two, maybe he's got long arms, and so you can neutralize all that by making a jump stop. Okay, and then out of that jump stop, there's a whole myriad of things that you can do to score, to give the ball to shooters, to get the defense up in the air, and then get up and under them, and maybe draw a foul that gets you to the free throw line.
Yeah, I mean, the when it comes to the basketball, you will meet a lot of upper level, kind of more elite level coaches, like people that we work with and stuff, that talk about things like changes of pace and changes of direction.
And changes of speed is really big.
Are how you become effective at basketball.
Yeah.
And like I was saying earlier, going all one speed at one time does not get it done.
Right.
Changes of speed, changes of direction, changes of pace, those are the things that keep the defense trying to catch up with you.
Yeah.
Doing things like a jump stop, that can really throw a wrench into what the defense thinks that you're going to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're forcing them to play catch up, which is exactly where you want them. You want them a step behind at most, or at least.
Yeah.
And if they are that far behind, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Or they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
You know, thinking about the changes of speed and watching one of the games yesterday where Memphis was playing, who were they playing yesterday? San Antonio.
Yep.
And Mike Conley comes down the floor, and he played a great game yesterday. And one of the things, he's driving really hard about the top of the key. He changes his pace and he slows down. And then all of a sudden, he just burst right straight to the basket and finished. Well, what he did, when he made that hesitation right there, then the defense begins to relax for a little bit because they're looking for him to deliver the ball to somebody else, okay? But instead, what he did is he drew them in, he made that little hesitation, actually looked toward the wing, and then all of a sudden he just exploded to the basket and had an easy layup. Those are the kind of things that are really important for us in learning how to execute when we're going to the basket. Go ahead.
So here's your guys' homework. Watch these playoff games and watch people like Kawhi Leonard, Rajon Rondo, Kyrie Irving. Steph Curry's really great at this because he's not the fastest, quickest guy out there. Watch those guys. Anybody, any slasher that's in there, watch those guys, and you will see that they are doing all these changes of pace, changes of direction. They will do jump stops. They will do shot fakes in the post. Look at what they're doing. And try to integrate that into your play a little bit.
Exactly.
Because the more you start to do that, the more higher level play you will start to being, part of your game, which is important. So try to integrate those things into your game.
Okay.
Okay, so let's shut that down and let's get into talking to our people here. If you have more questions about that, let us know and we'll try to get back into that. But we thought that was something really important that we don't see enough of in the younger, more, beginner, intermediate level players, right?
Yep.
And maybe even more elite players that they're just always go, go, go. Integrate this in your game, and it's a higher level approach.
It is.
Okay, and it's not that hard to do.
Nope.
Okay, so you guys are sending us your questions. Keep sending them in to us. Make sure that you go check out shotscience.com. We got all our stuff there. We'll get back to that later. But one question we want to have for you guys is the one that we ask every week.
Exactly.
And it's really important to us. This is what makes it so cool for us to do this live show all the time. But we want to know this question:
where are you located in the world?
Where are you guys from?
Yeah.
Are you from South Africa? Are you from Cambodia?
Lithuania.
Are you from Lithuania? Canada, Mexico. We want to know where you guys are from. We are in Santa Cruz, California, which is south of San Francisco on the coast of California. So when we find out that you guys are in some other spot in the world, that makes us really excited.
Yeah.
So let us know where you guys are. Go out into your community and tell them about Shot Science Basketball, because that helps us, grow the team, and it helps us spread the word, and it makes us want to do more cool things. We got Naes from Dubai. We have Olii from the UK, who's here frequently. Kanal, who's from India. Valen ASDs from Argentina. Cool. You guys keep sending those in. Yeah. We will keep shouting people out. So just let us know. We got Romar Rivera, who's from Puerto Rico. So it's awesome for us to see where you guys are in the world and know that you guys are playing basketball too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ellisphere is from Dubai as well. We got two guys from Dubai, two people from Dubai. Cool. Okay. So we're going to get into, there's Alexa, who's the regular viewer from Serbia. I remember your name. Kevin Kolev, you are here every week in Ireland. We appreciate having you here. Okay, so let's get into some of these questions, and we'll keep hitting you guys back in a little bit. I did see somebody here that was saying we should make shorter videos again. We are going to go back to making more videos like we were before. We've been doing these live shows every week because it's a way for us to keep in touch with you guys, but doing everything on YouTube has been tough in the last year or two with the way that YouTube is and things like that, and we've been going really big on Facebook. But we want to come back and start doing more tutorials, more fun stuff in video content on YouTube. So don't worry about that. we will have that coming up. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
Right.
Let's see here. Ahmad Williams says, yo, what's up? What's up, Ahmad? Okay, this is from Ferry224. She says, how far is the three-point line in high school?
The 3-point line in high school is 19 feet 9 inches
From the basket.
from the backboard.
Yep. Let's see here. Luis Rodriguez says, I learned to shoot from this channel. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
How cool is that?
And he says, I love this channel. Cool.
Yeah.
So did Awesome Pants, and that's awesome. Romar Rivera is asking, how can I control the tempo? Patience and control.
Well, yeah. That's a great question. A lot of players don't understand tempo. Coaches do, because they know that when the tempo begins to slow down and it's not called for at that particular time, then the game starts to really slog, and oftentimes we get lazy, we make mistakes, throw the ball away, etc. On the other hand, sometimes the tempo gets so up-tempo and really fast and all of that we play out of control. And so it's very important to learn how to play in tempo. And so your coach probably will help you. He may say, slow it down a little bit, slow it down. Or you might have a coach on the sideline and he says, okay, let's go. He's trying to get more up-tempo. And basketball can be played in any either fast tempo or slow tempo. And coaches have their own preference. And part of that preference it has to do with what kind of players they have. If you have a bunch of really big guys who are not really very quick and they don't fast break very well, they're going to take a slower tempo and they're going to pound the ball off the backboards and try to rebound it, put it back up, rebound it, and go.
And to control the tempo, too, there's a lot of things that you can do.
Yep.
You have to know what tempo you want to be playing at is the first. But, if you want to play more up-tempo, you're going to have more ball movement. You're going to be attacking more. You're going to have everybody's going to be moving without the ball. There's going to be a lot of screening, things like that. You're going to push the ball on the break. You're going to, try to, like I said, ball movement is really a big key. Slowing the tempo down, you're going to try to work with the clock a little bit more.
Yeah.
You're going to still be passing the ball around, but you're not going to be necessarily making a very hardline attack. Right. It really comes down to how you are moving the ball and things like that.
It has an awful lot to do with what kind of players that there are on the team. And like I was saying a while ago, if you have a team of bigs and they don't run very well, then probably the tempo is going to be a lot slower, and they're going to run a lot of motion plays and whatnot to try and give them good looks, okay? And then they're going to go pound the basketball, pound the backboard. And yet, on the other side of it, you'll see that some teams want to play that up-tempo or quicker. And, one of the things that you find is that when you're watching the Warriors or San Antonio or whatnot like that, you'll find that their game begins to step up when their tempo begins to become much faster. They get the ball, they get it out, and they're running. And last night they were able to kind of overcome Portland because of that fast break. They were taking the balls off, and they were actually defensively, they were taking McCollum and Lillard out of that three-point shot range, and they were forcing other guys to have to shoot the ball, and they weren't shooting very well, and they had the ball, and they were able to get down the floor with that up-tempo. And so that's an example of up-tempo. And so it has a lot to do with the kind of players that coaches have. If you try to play up-tempo with guys who can't run, you're not going to probably be very successful.
Okay, we got It's Me Paul, who's from Florida. We have Mohammed, who's from Egypt. We have Samuel, who's from Nigeria. Awesome. Keep sending us in where you guys are from. And we need your questions. So if you guys want to send in your questions, please let us know. Tell your friends and family, because this looks like a slower day for basketball, I guess. But we want to know what you guys are up to. Okay, this one is from Alexa, who says, do you guys think that aspiring big men should try and be more like Jokic, insanely smart, great fundamentals, but very slow, or be more like Porzingis, Boogie Cousins, etc., athletic shooters? Okay. This is kind of a loaded question, but here's the thing is that we don't think you should try to be like anybody or emulate any person, because that is really not a good approach, because you might like the way somebody plays, but that might not necessarily be what you're built for.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, maybe you are an insanely smart player that has great fundamentals, but you're also very quick and athletic. So why limit yourself to the way that this one person plays?
Yeah.
what our philosophy is that you should take all the fundamentals of basketball across the board, whether it's shooting, passing, dribbling, defense, whatever, free throws. You need to make sure that you are very good at all of those things.
Yeah,
and
exactly right.
And build from the bottom up, and you will play the way that you will play. You shouldn't look at somebody like Michael Jordan and say, I'm going to play just like Michael Jordan, because good luck. That's somebody that he spent the time building up the fundamentals of his own to become Michael Jordan. You are not going to be Michael Jordan. You're going to be you. And the same thing is true with all these big guys. Don't pigeonhole yourself.
Yeah. The thing that's really interesting about this commenter question, too, is the fact that when we begin putting ourselves in a slot like that, being like somebody else, and we don't have the same, let's say, physical skills or even the abilities to handle the ball and that kind of stuff, then we put ourselves into a position to fail. And one of the things that is important is be who you are and make sure that you work on developing skills in ball handling, in shooting, in defense, in running the floor. All of those things are very important for everybody. And then be the player that you can be having all those skills. You'd be surprised.
You can be inspired by other players and things like that. That's great. But I just know that there was people that we would play against or play with when I was younger who thought they were Michael Jordan or thought that they were, people of the time, Patrick Ewing or whoever, and they would wear the jersey and then they would play in that style, and they were just garbage. And the reason is because you have to start from the very foundation and build up. You shouldn't worry about trying to look or be like somebody else, because that's maybe not in the cards for you. And if you are able to do all these things in basketball, you will be much better served than trying to be. I mean, this is so specific. We say you shouldn't even try to be a position when you're working on developing your basketball skills. So you shouldn't be working on trying to be a point guard. You shouldn't be trying to work on being a post player. You should be working on developing the skills of a player that can do all of that. You should be able to do post moves. You should be able to attack on the perimeter, shoot, dribble, pass, all those things, play defense. You should be able to do everything. And then you can step into whatever role you need to on a team. This is even more specific, where you're saying that you want to play the position of a big guy, but you also want to play like certain big guys. That's not a good approach. And we're not trying to be hard on you. This is just, speaking from experience, not really the best way to approach how you develop yourself.
Well, there's a thought there that comes to my mind right away where you talk about athleticism. Hey, here's something that's really important is you are either an athletic body or you're not, or you're really athletic or you're really not.
And you can develop your athleticism.
Yeah, you can be in different places there, but athleticism is not something that you can really do an awful lot about development. You can develop some of the physical skills of jumping or running and whatnot like that, but physicality or athleticism is something that God gives you. Okay, you can work on it and develop a little more, but you can't just say that, okay, that's who I'm going to be. It doesn't work that way.
Okay, that was a long-winded. Sometimes people hit these little buttons on us, and we just have to rant and get on our soapbox and stuff.
We do.
And we say all this stuff in support of you guys. We want you guys to have the best answers and get the best approach. We aren't ever trying to lay into anybody, but we just think that young players need to not try to be like fill-in-the-blank player.
Exactly.
Foundation, build up, individual skill development.
Okay. John Cargo.
John Cargbo is saying, what should I do to get better in my left hand?
Hey, there's only one answer to that question, and that is you have to use it, and you got to use it all the time. We don't like to do that because usually what we're going to do is we'll mishandle the ball. Somebody will take it away from us because we're not able to control it the way we need to. So one of the things that we tell everybody is you got to be able to use your right hand, your left hand, strong hand, weak hand, whatever you want to call it, and be very effective in both ways. If not, what's going to happen is that the defender doesn't take long. In fact, they often know before they ever play you that you're a left-hander and you're really left. You can't go right if there's nobody on defense. And so there are a lot of players like that because and I'll tell you about that in just a second. But the thing is that you have to be able to attack them or control the basketball with either hand if you're going to be playing any higher level basketball. And maybe even in your high school, you have to do that. The other thing that's really important is that When we're shooting around, there's a reward. When we're shooting, there's a reward. And the reward is the ball goes through the basket once in a while. Okay, and then in ball handling skills, there's no immediate prize. There's no immediate good feeling about ball handling because there isn't an immediate reward. Okay, but talk about this. When you get into a game and you're able to take a fake left and go right or vice versa, and you use either hand equally, then you're going to find out how much fun that is to go by that person. And so there's the reward for you there. And if you're not going to work on ball skills, and many young players don't, because like I said, there's no reward there. There's no apple waiting for you. Then you don't work on it, and then you get into a situation where the defense can lock you down because you can't use one hand or the other.
I think that a lot of it comes down to not having a good approach to practice.
Yep.
A lot of times
Yep,
people
that's
work
probably
on
true.
it, but they don't work on it in a very optimized way.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why we're big proponents of the 3 pillars of practice is because that really gets you in kind of that regimented, diligent, purposeful practice that you need. And that's really one of the things that you need when you're developing your weaker side hand, because it's not going to be as easy as it was to develop your other hand.
Right.
Because that side is just, it's not as innervated and coordinated as the other hand. Right. So you have to put in more effort to get it up. But once you start to get it going, it will start to become easier and easier and easier. And then you can start integrating both hands into it. And then suddenly both hands are basically at the same level.
Yep.
But we have a whole series on that here on YouTube called How to Develop Your Weak Hand. Right. And in that, we talk about these things, but we also give you a bunch of drills to do. So make sure you go check out that video. Yeah. It might even be in the description under this video in one of the tutorial or one of the playlist list. Maybe not, but it's definitely on our channel. So go look up How to Develop Your Weak Hand, and there's a whole playlist of stuff there. Okay, so let's get into another one. This one is from the Electric Crew. It says, I'm 6 foot and I'm in the 9th grade. I'm not that great at threes. What is something that I can do so I can be better at them?
At threes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the absolute answer to that question is you've got to start working on developing your shooting skills.
You have to do the work to be able to get back to that distance. Most people don't do the work.
Yeah, and one of the things that we do with had a student, a brand new student this morning, and what we found out is that his shooting mechanics were horrible. He shot the ball down under his chin, and he'd make them once in a while. When he left today, then we had a much better program for him to shoot the basketball. And then from there on, what you need to do is go to what we refer to as the form shooting drill. Form shooting drill is a repetitive drill not very far from the basket. And you can find that on our YouTube channel, and I think that's called, isn't that
Form
shooting drill? And what will happen is that as you begin to develop those shooting mechanics at the shorter distance, and then you can move out and a little more and move out a little more. And what you find as you get further out from the basket, your shooting mechanics have improved, your muscle memory has improved, and you'll find also that your range improves. Range is how far you are away from that basket.
It's a progression.
It is a progression, and once I've got point A, okay, and that's feeling really good, I can move back to point B.
You got to master each distance before you move back.
Yeah, and you'll be surprised just how quickly that shot will come around.
And if you go to shotscience.com, we go into that even more in depth, and we show it and demonstrate it in the shooting area of the All Access membership. So if you want to check that out, that's where we'd say, if you want a visualization of what we just said, that's where you should go. Yeah. But it really is. It's a progression. Start in super close. One of the biggest mistakes people make is that they think that if they work on their shot from 4 feet away from the basket, that once they step back and they start launching threes, that it should all be dialed in. Yeah. That's not the way that it works. No. That's like shooting a gun from 4 feet and then trying to shoot it from 100 yards or something like that. You haven't put in the work for that. You need to get in close, work on your shot, take a step back. Once you master that, take another step back. You'll master the mid-range of your shot, and then eventually you'll get back to the distance of the three-point line, and your mechanics won't break down as you're shooting your shot.
Exactly.
Because if you go from close in and you step way back and you try to shoot it from 25 feet, your mechanics will be broken down, and you'll be more heaving the shot than you will be kind of finessing it up there.
All right, kind of a culmination of that little thing is this. You need to have really good shooting mechanics. The more wonky your shot mechanics are, probably the more difficult it's going to be for you to shoot from 3 points. But if you take and working on solid shooting mechanics, which you can find on the net, and you certainly find it on our videos. Once you get those mechanics down, then you can move back a little ways, and the mechanics are the same, and the mechanics are the same. One of the things that happens when we move to the 3-point line is we forget that we have legs that we need to use for power, and so the ball actually ends up being a flat and short shot. And so when you build on it and develop it backwards and keep all the mechanics the same and make sure you're getting the legs into it, you'll find that that 3-point shot starts to come around for you pretty good.
Okay, we said we were going to have shorter answers to these questions, and we fail every single time. Okay, this one is from It's Me Paul, who says, how can I not be nervous in the last minutes of a game when it's a tied game? Number one, it's okay to be nervous.
Yeah.
Number two, you just need to try to tune out all of the other extraneous noise that's going on with whatever. You don't listen to the voices in your head. Don't listen to the crowd. You just need to relax, take a breath, and realize that it's just going to happen the way it's going to happen. If you don't play in the present and you're trying to think about what's going to happen down in the next minute, or what's going to happen, or what happened in the past, that's a great way to sabotage yourself. So play in the present. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I think that's really a good call.
Okay. Let's see. Let's find some other ones here. This one is from Olii, who says, I'm 16 and 5'11". Around a week and a half ago, I could barely touch the top of the net and sometimes scrape the rim. Thanks to your help, I'm now grabbing the rim. Awesome.
All right.
Great
is
to
that
hear.
due to you being involved with our vertical jump program?
Yeah.
I hope it is, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Let's see here. Kanal is asking, are you going to continue the show about tryouts by Casey or Coach Casey Hill? Yeah, I still have some content on that, and I will definitely put out more of that. Kanal is asking, how important is your diet for being an elite player? It's one of the elements in the formula. I mean, if you're just eating garbage food and not treating yourself very, very well, then you're not going to rise to the potential that you have as a player.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And that's all phases of your life, not just being a basketball player or even, baseball player or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to put in the right fuel if you want to get the right results.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times young players, they just eat junky, crappy food because you can kind of get away with that when you're a kid.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen so much when you get a little bit older. But, if you're really taxing your body and fatiguing your body and doing the things that it takes to become a next level player, you want to be eating and consuming the things that are optimized for that.
Yeah.
Optimized for your recovery, optimized for your rest, optimized for fueling you while you're doing those exerting exercises or whatever. So it is very important. We are not nutritionists, but it's good to stick to lean proteins, veggies, and non-sugary drinks and things like that.
Right. Giddy Witty there has a question, Casey.
Giddy Witty says, how much space should you give an athletic player that can both drive and shoot when on defense? Here's the thing. That is the type of player that we want you guys to be. Yeah. We want you to be able to drive and shoot.
Yeah.
Because that makes defensive players have to ask that question.
Yeah, truly.
Right? And so what is your approach on that?
Well, the thing that's really important here is that you have to gauge, after a few minutes, you have to gauge where you need to play. Sometimes you'll find that maybe they're better off the shot, and so maybe you need to crowd them a little more, and then try to force them, if you can, do what you think is their weak hand if they're going to drive. And so let's say that they're really strong with the right hand. Let's get up on them and kind of favor that side so you can take that away, but you can also get up and contest the shot. And, like most right-handers like to go right. And so if we get over on that right foot, we force them maybe into a situation where they got to use a left hand, which maybe they're not as good as with. And so you can kind of control them that way. The thing that's most important, though, is that you want to take the shot away, but you also want to keep them from getting to the basket. Now, here's something that I think is really important to understand about defense, too. When you're playing defense, it's not kind of like the pros so much, but, usually your high school basketball teams or even college teams, you're being supported by 4 other people. And so one of the things that we talk about with our players is this: we want you to get up and crowd them and not allow them to pass the ball effectively or shoot the ball effectively, because we want to always pressure the basketball. And the big question that we always have to answer is, yeah, but coach, they go right by us. Well, if you have support from your teammates, they should not be able to get all the way to the basket. Your teammates should be able to slide over and help you to stop that particular player. If that's not happening, then that's a coaching issue that your coach needs to address.
Yep.
Because you really can't address it yourself.
Because the door needs to be slammed on any attack, no matter what. And
exactly.
there's a rotation of players that happens so that it doesn't open up another opportunity for them to pass the ball off.
Right. And now let me run one more thing by defensively. You know I can't shut up here when I go.
I got stuff I want to say too.
Okay. So. And so one of the things that is really important here too is that if you can force that player to give it up to somebody else, then always jump in the direction of that pass so they cannot come across your face. And what happens is oftentimes they'll take and pass the ball left, and then they'll step around you to the right because you didn't jump to the basketball, and now they've got a free give and go look to the basket. And so those are little elements and things that on defense that really help you, I think, too.
So here's what I would say too, and this is just to add on, is that if you have a player that's able to do those things, number one, never let them catch the ball.
That helps, yeah.
So you're going to have to play really tough in the passing lane and make it just really difficult for them to even get open to get the ball.
Exactly.
So that eliminates the problem right there if you're able to successfully do that. In reality, it's not easy to completely shut somebody off, but that's your goal. Shut them down, don't let them get the ball. Yeah. The second part is what we talked about earlier, where you are taking control of the situation. You were kind of touching on that too. Take control of the situation, make them do what you want them to do, not react to what they want you to do. So in other words, if they have the basketball in their hands and they're going to attack, anticipate where that attack's going to be, shut it down, step in front of them, take a charge. If they're going to take a shot, you don't know that. So maybe jump at them, force them to make a decision where, maybe you gave them a fake where you were going to come in close. So then that makes them kind of shock into what they're going to do. And then they maybe try to attack. Whatever, you're trying to bait them into doing what they're not ready to do. And that's one of the things that we talk about too. When you guys are guarding somebody on the fast break, we don't say just backpedal until you guys get to the basket and then have like a jousting match when you get there. We say take control, meet that guy, force them to do something, fake at them, make them pick up the ball, make them jump stop, make them do something that they weren't prepared to do. Same thing in that position. Force them to make a decision they weren't ready to make. Right?
Yep.
Okay. This one is from NBA 2K Plays. You said, did you watch the Spurs game last night? If so, how's Kawhi Leonard's fadeaway so strong?
He spends time working on it.
Yeah.
And that's really all it is guys who have the athletic element to their game, and the guys, in fact, if you were listening to the announcers, they were talking about how Kawhi has spent so much time just working on his skill development. That's why he's got great ball skills. He can attack you and get to the basket. He can shoot the ball really well. He has that little fade as he shoots back. And so that's all the result of many hundreds of hours of work that he puts in. And that's one of the things that they were saying about him, is that he stays in camp and works on that stuff in the off season. That's why his game has grown so significantly in the last 2 or 3 years. He spends time developing all of those skills. And it's fun to watch him because he's explosive, he's athletic, but he's also very skilled.
Here's a little bit of a name drop, but 2 weeks ago I was doing a little project with Dirk Nowitzki that you can see that we did a little bit of thing on Facebook. But one of the things that I asked him when all the cameras were off and we were just sitting down and talking was I wanted to know like what his game day schedule was like, because you always hear like Ray Allen was there 3 hours before and Steph Curry was there 3 hours before working on their shot, and he said, yeah, I'm here. I'm the first one here, and I'm shooting around for hours and hours before the game actually starts. And then even after the game, I'm making sure that I'm taking care of things that I need to take care of then too. Yep. These are people that are so dedicated that it's not like they just show up at the arena, walk out and do their warm-up routine and then play. Yeah. These guys are there. They are shooting around for 3-4 hours before the game even starts. Yeah. how many of you guys are spending 3 or 4 hours a day even just doing anything basketball related? So, I mean, these guys, they put so much time and effort into it. And of course, their lifestyle allows for it. But if you want to be at that level, you have to invest in the skill development. And that's basically what they do.
Yeah, really true.
Apologize for the name drop. This one is from Alexa, who says, I suffered not 1 but 2 injuries to my knee in 7 months. My new coach came in and stressed that we shouldn't stretch before games. I always stretched before and never had an issue. What should I do? You also say he is very careful when it comes to conditioning, so he isn't a reckless person. Yeah, here's the thing. There's different kinds of stretching. There's static stretching, and then there's dynamic stretching. We are not fans of static stretching, which is where you are basically just stretching a muscle that's cold. So
And immobile, essentially.
yeah, so if I just got up and I was just doing like one of these guys, and I'm standing here like this, and I'm just stretching. My muscle's cold. I haven't done anything. This is static stretching. Dynamic stretching means that you're moving, and you're moving through the stretch through your movement patterns. So it's like you're warming up your muscle as you're stretching. So that might be something where I'm like this, and I take a step, this, take a step, this. That's a very simple demonstration of it.
Yeah, that's dynamic.
And if you want to see more of that, go to our vertical jump videos, and we have a whole section in that talks about dynamic stretching.
Right.
And you can use those before the game to really get or practice or whatever to get really warmed up.
And we do recommend the stretching too.
Yeah. So warming up and stretching at the same time is a little bit different than just cold stretching, static stretching. Mm-hmm. So we kind of agree with what your coach is saying. He's probably on the same page of what we're saying there. Okay, let's see. It's Me Paul says, how to get quicker. Got to work on training your athleticism. The vertical jump videos that we were just talking about are a great start.
Well, they are, because they're working on explosion of your lower body.
And if you want to go to shotscience.com, we have a whole section on just athleticism too. So that would be another place to go. Aubrey is asking, what are some ways that I could jump higher? Same answer.
Exactly.
The vertical jump videos that we have here on our channel, and then also go to shotscience.com in the all access membership area. There's another area for that stuff there. And we go into real serious detail on that.
Right.
Let's see here.
Over the last few years too, we found that the vertical gain for most people is between 3 and 5 inches, and over a period of maybe 3 months. That's not bad at all.
Well, here's the thing, is that a lot of people think that when they're training that it's either going to be instant gratification or instant results, or they have unrealistic expectations. Maybe they saw it in some email that showed up in their email that said that they would get them, 13-inch vertical in 3 days or something like that. Doesn't happen.
Nope.
One of the things that's different about, well, not different, but, our vertical jump series, one of the things that we get a lot of information back from people that have been using it is that they get a very kind of significant spurt when they start doing the stretching package and the foam rolling.
Exactly.
Because they find out that they are so inflexible, and they have so many deep adhesions in their muscles that when they start to break that stuff up and start to get more flexible, that suddenly they're able to jump higher 2-3 inches, maybe even more, just from doing that stuff. And then you add on the strength and conditioning aspect on top of that, and you start to, and the balance and all that, you start to add more over time.
Right.
But you have to be realistic about it. You're not going to get a foot in vertical just by doing some program.
And it's not going to happen in a few weeks to get that much.
Yeah. So go check out our vertical jump stuff. We stand behind it. It was put together by my brother, who is a certified physiologist, and he also has degrees in exercise science. So it's not just some slap together thing. It's put together by somebody that works in that field, that has specializations. So we suggest you check that out. Let's see. This one is from Hectic Gaming, who says, I'm 13 years old, going into high school. I'm 6 foot without shoes, and I was wondering if you think I should play in high school, and if so, what position?
Okay, let me have this one.
All right.
If you love basketball, go ahead and play in high school. The thing that you have to remember, though, is that you wanted to develop yourself as a player, not a position player necessarily. And what we're talking about is that you should be able to handle the ball, shoot the ball, and
Play defense.
and play defense, pass the basketball, and be a complete player. And if the coach asks you to play the post, you can do that too because you've learned 2 or 3 moves there. He wants you to play the point guard. Oh, I can do that because I have worked on my ball skills, and I can shoot the 3 ball fairly well, and I can see the floor, and when people are open, I can get them the basketball. So hopefully you're understanding there that don't become a position player, become an all-around player. And who's going to make the decision where you play? Not you. Your coach is going to make the decision where you're going to play on the floor.
Yeah, you basically need to prepare yourself so that you are going to be able to play.
Yeah.
Your coach determines where. If you limit those options by the way that you train, that's going to be even less time here.
You could be sitting on the bench quite a bit.
But if you can play every position and do just as well in all of them, you will be in a great spot.
Exactly.
One thing I will also say is this. Where is it? Okay. So first word of advice, go watch our series on how to make the team.
Yep.
That is a very important place to start. It'll get you kind of in the mental space and give you some insight into what coaches are looking for. Number 2 is this. Go to open gyms. Go to things before tryouts happen that your coach runs, maybe a camp in the summertime or whatever it is. Find out where your coach does these things for players or camps or whatever before the season starts. Know who your coach is. Make sure they know who you are. The worst thing you can do is show up at tryouts and expect to make an impression on your coach that day.
Well, that's true. And then to think you're better than everybody else. When you don't make the team, you're not very, you think you're better. Hey, your decision doesn't make any difference. The coach's decision is what makes a difference on whether you make that team and then whether you play after you do make that team. So,
and in general, as you become a player at the higher level, especially when you get to like JV and then you get to varsity, coaches know who they want on their teams before tryouts start.
Absolutely.
And if you're not on that list, it's going to be hard to break into that because you showed up on tryout day.
Yeah.
So, that's not something people want to hear. They want to think that it's like this egalitarian thing and they show up at tryouts. Everybody's got a clean slate. Coaches know exactly who they want.
Yeah.
And, there might be a few 2 or 3 positions or something maybe where they're trying to figure that out, but it's pretty solid who they're going to have there. So if you don't know the coach and they don't know you, that's not a good place to set yourself up with.
Another part of that formula too is to have a great attitude.
Yep.
Very important.
Well, that's part of the How to Make the Team series, so go check that out. Okay, this one is from Alexa, who says, do you guys support granny-style foul shots? We support shots that go through the basket.
Yeah, that's the key point.
If you can shoot like Rick Barry from the free throw line and make it with that percentage, we say do it and be proud.
Whatever works for you. That's the important thing.
You know what you shouldn't be proud of? Shooting 50, 60, 65% from the line.
Yeah.
That it doesn't matter how you shoot it. You could shoot it and put your sunglasses on at the same time. Looks cool. Unless it doesn't go in the rim, that doesn't matter, right?
Yep.
Because if you are shooting less than, it's gross. If you're shooting less than 70% from the free throw line, that is a problem.
Yeah, you should be up there. Yeah,
and unless you are shooting 100% from the free throw line, you should be working your foul shooting every day.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting in watching Kawhi Leonard the last couple of days in their games. I think he's 50 for 51 on his free throws. Can you imagine how awesome that is? 50 for 51 in the series. Wow.
And he
did that. Excuse me, Casey. He did that because he spends time on it.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. So many players, younger players, they get so frustrated because they're not seeing the results that they want, or something's not happening fast enough, or they have a failure and it just contaminates everything about what they're doing. Great players don't let that happen to themselves. Yeah. Great players, or people that will be great players, get motivated by failure or motivated by the fact that they can't do something. So when I'm saying if you have a less than 70% percentage on your shooting of foul shots, and that makes you pissed off, or you say, well, forget that guy, or I'm foul shooting isn't important, or whatever it makes you feel, if you're that kind of person, that's not going to make you better. Yeah. What makes you better is saying, wow, he's right. 70% is not great. I need to really work on this. I'm going to get out there today and I'm going to work on it. And I'm going to work on it tomorrow. And until I get to 100%, I'm going to keep working on it. Yeah. And that's what those guys do. again, Dirk Nowitzki, he was telling me he still is working on his foul shooting before he came to the event that we were doing stuff on. So that guy has been playing in the NBA for 20 years, and he's still working on his free throw shooting.
Yeah.
So get to work.
Yeah. There's one right there.
Your boy Kevin says, I shot 40% from the free throw line this past year. That's
Come on, Kevin.
That's a great opportunity for you to flip that statistic around.
Yeah, let's get that taken care of. Okay, now SYC there.
You can ask.
I know. It. Okay. It says how to be calm in the game. Okay, or at the game. For most players, even inexperienced players, after the first few minutes of the game, you kind of settle down and you're not really really tight and anxious. You tend, as the game gets going, you relax more and just go with the flow. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Everybody has the first 2 or 3 minutes where they're just kind of tense. Okay.
Well, here's the other thing. Where was that? How to be calm. Okay, so one of the things that will help you is just having confidence in your skills.
Yep.
So you have to work on developing your abilities to play in your free time.
Yeah.
And people that have confidence in the execution of their skills are going to be more confident in just the way they play in general.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to being calm in games, you also have to get involved in the third pillar of practice, which is just game experience.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to get experience playing to feel comfortable when you get out into the floor. You've done it. You've been there before. It's not that big of a deal. Right. Okay. Your boy says, wait, hold on. Alexa says, I shoot 80% thankfully.
Right.
That's great, but it's not perfect. So you need to keep working on it. That's all we're saying.
Yeah.
Your boy Kevin's asking about floaters and runners. We have a video up on our channel about that. So if you want to look up how to do a floater, I think that's the name of that one. Rico Luke is asking, what's a good way to score a layup over a taller defender?
Well, that's kind of tough to do sometimes.
You have to ask yourself the question, is this a good shot?
Yeah, and I wouldn't try necessarily to score over them. If you go to our videos, you're going to find a series in there called the 9 Finishes at the Rim, and that's addressing what you're talking about. You don't have to go in against a guy who is maybe 6'9" and figure that you're going to take and get up over him and score over him. That's probably not going to happen. But what you can do is learn to execute some moves at the finish that will allow you to create space so you can get the shot off. Trying to force it over a bigger person like that, they're probably going to end up blocking it.
Yeah, I mean it's you have to have all these different tools in your toolbox.
Yeah, you do.
You're not gonna build a shed with a baseball bat. You're gonna have all these different options in your bag. So you want to go and have all these different finishes at the rim so that you don't have to try to out jump or out fake or whatever this one guy. And again, you have to ask yourself, is this a good shot?
Yeah.
Because if it's not, you need to create an opportunity where it is a good shot, or look for the opportunity that your teammate has created for themselves or something like that.
Well, yeah, and this is a great place for you to sometimes use that jump stop that we were talking about earlier today. And the fact that we get in and there's that big and we make the jump stop, we turn and kick it out to a player who's open for a 3 look, or we use a rondo move or something like that to be able to get the ball up without them being able to contest it. So you have to have more in the program just figuring I'm going to go over them, because you're probably not going to go over them. They're going to make you peel it and eat it right there.
Yeah. Your boy Kevin asked tips on how to fix a two-handed shot. Go check out our videos.
Yeah.
If you check out the form shooting drill video, we talk about getting that positioning in the right place using one hand, because your shooting is basically a one-handed shot or motion.
Yeah.
So if you are trying to shoot it with two hands, this will force you to shoot it with one hand. So start there, right?
And check out the videos.
Yeah, and Alexa says that too. Form shooting is the best way.
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin Kolev, our buddy from Ireland, says, hi guys, I'm a high percentage three-point shooter of the pass when I set.
Off the pass?
Off the pass when I set, but when I shoot off the dribble, sometimes I'm off balance. Should I jump, stop, and shoot, or something else?
Okay. Well, we have real reasons for what I'm going to tell you right now. One of the problems that we have when shooting off the dribble is we're not used to practicing in that situation very much. And so what we do is we have a series where we have a person dribble and they come off and they want to back up. we want to use what we call 1-2 or stop and gather footwork. And that allows us to stay on balance. One of the things that happens to us is that when we come off the dribble and we hop into a shot, particularly when we're going across the courts from one side to the other or in that direction, it's really hard for us to get ourselves so that we're not sliding in that direction. And so if we use stop and gather footwork or 1-2 footwork, you'll find that you have better control and you get more vertical and you don't have that drift that is going to affect your shot.
You need to convert your horizontal momentum into vertical momentum, and you don't want to be a shooting at a stationary target while you're moving.
Exactly.
That adds in a whole nother variable that is going to make your shooting more complex and less accurate.
Right, and what you didn't hear there is hopping into the shot. We just don't feel that you should hop into the shot anytime.
It's impossible to translate the horizontal into vertical with great efficiency.
Yeah, because what happens is that when you leap in the air, your body wants to keep going, and that's exactly what happens. We jump in the air and we begin to slide.
Well, what you're doing is you're in the air and then you land, and you're trying to stop that momentum by landing in simultaneous fashion with both feet. If you're doing a stop gather, you're starting low and you're coming in one, that's your stop foot. You have stopped your horizontal momentum. You bring your gather foot in. That's going to create that upward motion. So you have taken care of rhythm. You've taken care of translating horizontal into vertical momentum, and you're still on balance,
Yep.
which are not things that are necessarily true when you're doing the hopping into the shot.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's one of the reasons why we're really into that. Balance is super important. And if one of our good friends is Drew Hanlon, who works with all these pro players. He looks at hours and hours and hours of pro players shooting, and he's analyzed and done the statistics. Being off balance is basically one of your biggest enemies when it comes to accuracy.
Right.
And if you ask him, he will tell you that. Okay. This one is from Bulldogs. Coach, question for junior high players. During practice, how much time should you devote to drills, scrimmaging, offense, and defensive schemes? Great job.
A lot of people have different thoughts about that. I think in the beginning of the season, I would spend much more time working on individual skills, and maybe that's dribbling, passing. What else?
Well, any kind of
Yeah,
I don't know what you're trying to say.
Well, we want to break it down so that we're working on all the elements of basketball at a slower rate. As time goes on and they begin to maybe develop and get more of those things that they can get into the game, then you take and give them a little bit more time to scrimmage. One of the things that happens is that so much time in coaching teams, and it doesn't make any difference what level, is that we tend to want to force them into running plays early on before they're really capable of doing that. And the thing that's important for me is that if you have the elements in place, maybe you get beat a few games early in the season because you haven't really been through the scrimmage enough. But what happens is that they become more solid in passing, more solid in dribbling, and in defense, whatnot. And then as those elements kind of come together, and we're talking about junior high school here, and then what we find is that we begin to scrimmage more. And so I think that is the best way to go about it.
Okay, here's my thoughts on it very quickly. You should approach this in the same way that we do the 3 pillars of practice. You want to have the diligent, purposeful kind of dialing in work. The second pillar, which is game speed, game intensity, kind of practice of those skills. And then the third pillar, which is the game experience, which would be like scrimmaging and things like that. But also, it's going to be different on every team, and you're going to have to address different things for the different teams that you're working with and everything. The biggest thing that you can do, especially for young players like junior high, is teach them how to play, not what to play.
Yeah.
So you could have plays on top of plays on top of plays, but if they can't go off the rails and play just kind of and execute without being in a set, then you're in trouble. But if you teach them how to play and they don't need a play called, and they can just go out there and play and still be effective, that's really kind of the spot you want to be in.
Yeah, things that come to my mind there, and this is something I dabbled in a long time ago when I was coaching younger teams, is that we taught them the basketball automatics, and in that I'm talking about the give and go, back cutting, screen and roll, all those little things that can make up an entire offense And you don't have to be running the dribble drive. You don't have to be running the Princeton offense.
Yeah, we're not running fists. We're not running flex. It's like we have these options.
We learn how to space the floor and get players so that they're not crowding one another, give each other some room, and then we give them some basic things that they can run. It's surprising after they learn how to do that, they get pretty crafty with that kind of thing.
Yeah. So again, give them the tools and they'll be able to do more than you even expected.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to answer these two questions without.
I won't say a word.
We're just going to go real quick. Tom Hubbard says, should I bother learning good hook shot? If so, how do I do that? Yes, it's another great thing to have in your toolbox. Go to our channel. We have a how to shoot a hook shot video on there that you can go watch right now. SYC says, how to practice the same shooting form. I felt my form changes every time. Form shooting drill.
Yep.
That's what we will say.
Exactly.
Go check that out on our channel. Okay, so that's going to do it for us today, you guys. We have 2 questions for you, though.
Hang on, before
What?
you go away. What is that? DB11 has a question.
How can I get the Dirk shirt? We're going to do the contest for the signed Dirk Nowitzki Shot Science shirt here very soon. We're just trying to figure out exactly how we want to do that, but it will be ready to go sometime soon. So if you guys are into that, let us know. Here's our 2 questions before we get out of here. Number 1 is, where are you guys from?
Yep.
Where in the world are you guys from? We are in Santa Cruz, California. We want to know where you guys are. Lithuania. Yeah. 2 is this. How many shots are you going to put up today? Quality shots, not garbage trick shots, not casual shots. How many quality shots are you going to put up today? 100? 50? 200? We want to know. Leave those in the comments. Yeah. And make sure that you guys go check out shotscience.com. That has all of our stuff related to shot science on it. Our shirts, our vertical jump training gear, our all access membership pass. If you want to work with us and do some camps or something like that, it's all there. So check out shotscience.com and follow us on all of our social media stuff. We will see you guys again next time at 1 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday. Thank you, right?
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. See you guys.